Hi, everyone. My name is Tina Anderson, and I live on the island, and I am a retired caterer.
Oh.
And these days, I do event planning in Chicago in the summertime, and most of the rest of the year, I'm here and I work with Heather at Driftwood Beach and Home. So we do a lot of fun classes. We do, charity events and different things, and we just have a lot of fun in the backyard of Heather's beautiful shop. And so, tonight, I wanted to talk to everyone about cooking with herbs. So this is one of my favorite subjects to talk about because the minute I get down here in the fall, I plant my herbs. And I have them all in pots because we all know how Florida soil can be and how crazy it can be here. So I just get my big pots, or I have a big horse chalk that I do, but if you don't want to go that crazy, just grab a couple pots. Heather does them at the store, she'll do a potting for you. And I get my herbs going because I use herbs every single day. It is the easiest way to take something from the grocery, to take a cocktail, to take a store-bought dip or whatnot, and cocktails. And to take just the most basic of things and turn it into really, a next level dish just by using fresh herbs. So, there's the clarification. Today, we're going to talk about fresh herbs, but I also want to talk about herbs in general because a lot of people cook with dried herbs, and that's okay. It's fine when you don't have fresh available, but dried herbs are more robust. They're concentrated. They've been, all the oils and all the moisture has been taken out of them, so the flavor intensifies. So if you can't find fresh herbs and you still want to do what we're talking about tonight, please use dried, but always try and find fresh, because with the fresh herb, you're going to find the real flavor of the herb. And it gets a little distorted when you use a dry herb, but certainly dry is better than none. Couple of tips when you are using dry herbs versus fresh herbs. If you're using dried herbs, you may add them in, like for tomato sauce. Throw in your dried oregano, your dried basil, your dried onion or garlic. You can throw them in as you're preparing the dish and letting it simmer. If you are using fresh herbs, never do that. If you're using fresh basil in your tomato sauce, for example, fresh oregano, any kind of fresh spice, you don't want to add those herbs in until the last 10 minutes of cooking or finishing the dish, like absolutely finishing. And then you'll retain all the beautiful flavors. Your herbs will retain the color and shape and kind of everything you want to look at your dish and go, wow, that's pretty impressive when you put that out. So, so just two simple quick tricks about that. I brought a variety of herbs here today, and I'm going to pass them around so everybody can kind of touch them, feel them, smell them, etc. And I also included in this little basket of herbs, these are technically edible flowers. They're nasturtiums. There's the whole family of flowers that you can throw in salads and eat. I particularly like using these because they are so easy to grow. They're like a weed. Literally, Heather and I were talking about it today. We planted nasturtiums in our pots from seeds, and they're like this big from a month ago. So they just prolifically give you flowers. So all season long, you're entertaining. You just go pick a bunch of these off your bush, and they make your platter look amazing. So they also have a great peppery flavor. You can add them into salads. You can throw them on a plate with veggies. You could throw them on a plate with, chicken or fish or whatever. And they add a nice little peppery flavor to the dish. So please feel free to eat one or try one. We've got a whole bunch of them around, and they also look beautiful on dessert dishes as well. So,
where would you buy that?
So you can get these at the farmer's market. I seen them at the farmer's market. I also order greens through Homestead Farms and Warden Farms. All these local growers, you can get online and order them, and they all have pickup spots at different places. I think Warden goes to Artisan Cheese. Homestead, you can pick up at Indigenous on their porch on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So you can get all this stuff.
So
You can also buy a little potted nasturtium at like, we both
At
love
the
to go to
farm
our
store.
farm and garden on Fruitville
Yeah.
and Benita. And mine was this big. I planted it maybe a month and a half ago. Literally, it's like this big.
Yeah.
So-
And you can grow them on your patio.
Yeah, so
That
if
was-
you buy a plant, then in a month you've got plenty.
So that was my question, thank you, was how easy is it for someone like Bob here to grow? And, or no, you're probably an excellent farmer.
No, I'm here for the recipes.
But like, do you plant it in the yard? Do you grow it in a pot? Do you grow it inside or on the patio?
Okay, great question.
Where do you,
Yeah, this is, these I have just kept in, I bought this at the garden store. And I just have it, I have a whole slew of them on top of the soil by my kitchen door. So they're, they're not in the Florida soil, they're in this, and I just keep it watered and whatnot. And my other plants, I have in pots. I have everything in pots.
put the nasturtium, you would keep it
In a pot, it's in a pot.
I
In
keep
Florida, don't
potted
put
in my
anything in the
kitchen
ground.
because it makes my house
We all live in
smell
condos,
good.
Yeah.
so we're not putting anything in the ground.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can just get it, like, and not to like say, come to the shop, but I do have some containers you can buy, or you can go anywhere and get a container,
Yeah.
as long as it has a hole in the bottom.
Yeah, like this pot, for instance, if you didn't want all this rosemary, you could plant something like this size or two of these right either in your kitchen window, like you
Yeah.
said, a sunny, nice sunny spot, or 2 or 3 of them on your patio. And that's all it takes is, 3 or 4 little plants. That's it. Just keep trimming it. Well, you're going to use them. Keep using the herb and they'll just keep proliferating and be beautiful. And if you don't want to deal with the nasturtium plant, because it does take off, but it's beautiful. It's like beautiful to have on a patio or a porch, or I don't know if I put this on the kitchen ledge because it takes over. But
I want to
they're
grow one.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
they're
put it on
really
your
cool.
patio. It'll grow up the spindles if you have, like, it's kind of.
Yeah,
the
you can
thing.
you can tie it up and let it go. And literally you cannot kill this. I mean, they are so easy to grow. So I really encourage people to, if not, and I only brought today herbs you can buy at Publix or Whole Foods or Fresh Market or any, all those stores. You can find every herb here in that store. So the only thing missing from the puzzle are these. But Whole Foods and Fresh Market does sell edible flowers in their herb section. They don't always have them, and they don't look as beautiful as this because these came picked off my plant. But they do have them. So
If you can't find them anywhere, call me, they do something like that.
yeah, and Heather has a ton in her garden in the back of the store. You have one of these in the back of the store, don't you?
Yeah, I just planted it though, but at home is where it's like half the size of that table. Wow.
Yeah,
Grows that big.
yeah.
How does it do with wind? We're up high in the condo. Wind gonna hurt it?
Mine gets a lot of wind. Mine is, yeah. But put it up against the wall, and let it just, as long as it has sun. Same with all the other herbs. The only herb that you're not gonna wanna grow here, this is I swear, you cannot grow basil here. I'm sorry, you can't.
Oh, I
Got it, bye. I
Oh,
can't
not
grow
from
it.
the seed.
I'm on the wall. I can't grow it.
I grow it inside.
Yeah.
People tell me that.
I tell you.
started to see, but it grows crazy.
Well, I'm so glad everybody's saying that because I have tried time and time again. I just buy my basil or I go to Heather's because I can't grow basil at my house, but I have I'm on the water,
I
so.
grow it inside
You do.
with full sun from the
Full sun.
window.
And it goes crazy. It goes,
It's
okay.
fine. It gives
Okay.
me as much as I cook
Mine's
with.
Yeah, okay,
I
good.
have a question though. I cannot for the life of me grow thyme. I can't do thyme, just like,
I don't know, it just doesn't,
Yeah, I don't know.
you get basil, she gets, no.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
We
work.
could
I
start
would
our
like
own
to,
little
like,
herb co-op. I have mine just in a pot
And
and
mine
Mine-
will hot too, really.
This doesn't like my.
It might not be, it might have to get too much sun. Maybe that's what it is.
maybe it is.
Probably get it
Then I
from.
started giving too much water, so I stopped giving it that much water, but now it's.
I water mine, I flush mine fully every 3 or 4 days, my thyme and basil, and then keep it inside in a pot.
In
just
the window.
in a window with
Then you
good
take it off when you go
afternoon
away.
sun. It gets all afternoon sun.
Yeah.
Oh, well, see, that's what it likes. It likes,
Yeah, I get.
basil loves that. hot
But
sun.
time, I don't know. I think it doesn't look good.
Did you transplant it? Is it still in the original little?
No, I put it into the.
My
Yeah.
mint grows
It's the
better
second and
outside
third
though.
Yeah,
Mint
the
grows
mint
better
likes to
outside.
be outdoors, yeah. So, well, I guess we'll all have to keep experimenting. I just go get, like at the farm store, that store Heather was just talking about, I just get the soil from there, garden soil and potting soil, and I just.
So could we have a support group?
Yeah, I think we should have a,
You know what?
I think we should have a co-op.
I thought about two things behind my shop. If you've been to my shop and if you've seen the back, I have a little area and I have little gardens back there. And originally when I opened the shop just last year, I thought I was gonna have a pick your own, which I could do that. So if you want to,
If you have time, I might stop over.
I have
You
time.
know?
If you have time to come, you can have time. And I also thought of having a little garden, like a little community garden.
Yeah.
Because
I think that
the
would be
Design
excellent.
2000 has tons of grass and they're great. They would, you know.
They
and
would
so
love it.
We could do
Get
like,
the horse
get
chops.
the little jobs
Yeah,
and you could like have your own little job.
I think it's a great idea. Because you don't want, like, some people just want a little bit, or every, once a month they want to come use it.
Yeah, it would
We
be,
could do a garden club trough. Members only. And.
I
we
think
could
we're
all-
onto something
We
here.
could all throw in.
Yeah.
For that behind your shop and Design 2000.
yeah,
I think we should do that.
I do too.
let's do it.
What do y'all
Let's
think?
do it.
That's a good idea.
A garden, for
So
sure.
everything I have planted back there is in this truck that Tina's mentioning. It's like a galvanized metal. It's about this tall. You can get really tall ones, but they don't that tall. So they're like about this tall and you just fill it with soil.
And they're, yeah, they have drainage, you know.
Yeah,
holes.
I pull, well, like. my
And
holes.
that would bring all of us to your
fun.
store.
Yeah.
So.
And it's so beautiful in the back.
So
Yeah,
where's your
we
store?
just-
But, and Whitney Beach Plaza.
Whitney Beach Plaza,
Oh,
next
okay.
door to the cafe,
Okay.
between
Long Beach
cafe and
Cafe?
Design 2000. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do
Let's
it.
do it.
I
Yeah.
think it's a great idea.
The
This
truck
is
costs
an
like
awesome
$120
idea.
or something.
Yeah,
then the
and we'll plant
soil.
nasturtium.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Can we
that'll
bring
be just
wine and watch
beautiful
it grow?
anyway.
Yeah, bring
You
one.
can sit back there and drink it.
If you all have not been back there, I encourage you to, it's beautiful. Like people are like, where do you do classes? What's back there? It's gorgeous back there. Heather has 4 beautiful tables with umbrellas, but just the whole
That would be so.
plaza back there is gorgeous.
And
It's
we'll all-
beautiful.
Yeah, and you guys could even have meetings back there. Like it's open. Like book clubs can be back there. Art
I
clubs
think
can
it's a
be-
great
It's where
idea.
Tina teaches a lot of these classes that we're doing.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, that'd be so
it's a
fun.
beautiful
The
setting.
only problem is you have to walk through my messy bathroom. but
No, that's okay.
We like it. It's
Okay,
creative.
it's done deal. We're gonna do it.
We're doing it.
We'll do it. And I have all those edible flower seeds. We'll do one trough just with edible flowers.
Flowers, herbs.
Yeah, because people don't want to grow them, so
Yeah.
we'll do
We
it.
could do a garden club one and then if somebody wants their own, they can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pass these around. We're gonna talk about them real quick, and then you guys can all take these herbs home, by the way.
I
These
can
came from my garden.
Going to Paxton.
Yeah, so let me just talk about them real quick, and
And
then I'll
Heather?
pass them.
Hold them up so they can see it on the Zoom. As
Oh,
one of the,
What do you want?
Yes, should I stand over closer?
stand over and show them what
Okay.
they're getting.
So here's our fun basket of goodies. Okay. So, and if this is too elementary, just let me know and I can ramp it up a little bit. But I feel like there's some basic things about herbs everyone should know. And it really takes the kind of intimidation factor out of using herbs and fresh herbs. So I'm just gonna talk really quickly and then you can kind of touch and smell all of these. But so there's kind of two categories of herbs. There's what we would call more fine herbs, and there's even a combination of 4 specific herbs called fine herbs that's used a lot in French cooking. But for the general discussion, fine herbs are any of the herbs with like a milder flavor. The softer leaf, the more tender thing, like thyme is considered a fine herb. Marjoram, a fine herb. Dill, then all of those are fine herbs. So it doesn't always correspond to the texture of the leaf, but many times it does. Then there's the more robust herbs, which are things like rosemary, sage. Thyme can really, there are varieties of thyme that can be more robust, so that's kind of a crossover herb. Mint. Chives is not really an herb, it's like an onion, but it's definitely in the bolder category. So when you're thinking of what herbs am I going to put on my food or in my sauces or whatnot, nothing is really off limits, but you have to remember the bolder herbs go better with things that are fattier and hold up to like a strong herb, you know, a strong flavor. Whereas the delicate herbs are better with things like fish and eggs and cheese and, you know, all those sorts of things. So you can just Google like great pairings for various herbs. If you happen to love rosemary or love lavender or whatever, you know, that's the way to do it. And then the other thing to remember about any of the fresh herbs is that when you're following a recipe, if you're following a recipe and it says 2 tablespoons of thyme, for instance, make sure you don't do 2 tablespoons of dry thyme because your dish will be awful and ruined. So like you need more of the fresh when you're cooking. And you'd be surprised how many people make that mistake and then their whole dinner is ruined. But the other,
What's the ratio? Is it half?
yeah, it depends. Yeah, it's more like 2 tablespoons to like a half of a teaspoon or a teaspoon or a teaspoon of dry. Yeah, there's a lot more pungent. The other thing with the bolder herbs versus the other herbs is you never want to use the stem because the stems tend to be woodier and you know, you can feel them when you grab these around. They all have kind of woody stems and all of that. So you want to always pick the leaves off and use just the leaves, or pick the little fronds off, etc.
So you do that with thyme because I find it painstaking.
Yeah.
It is painstaking.
The leaves all the time.
It is sometimes.
Or do you tie the bundle and drop it in?
I do that a
and
lot.
pull it out?
Yeah,
Instead.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You can tell you cook a lot. So you tie your herbs together to infuse the flavor, like Susan was saying, and you don't have to pull them all off. But yeah, this does take a long time. And sometimes when I'm doing fish or chicken or whatever, I'll just lay it on top. But you know, you'll see the thyme here. There's 2 different thyme plants. And if you get the thyme when it just sprouts up and you just keep trimming it, you can feel the difference between this one and this one. And this stem is so delicate and whatever that you actually could throw this whole thing because the stem is tough. Yeah, but once it starts getting a little tougher, it's not as good.
Doing time.
Yeah,
I need a lot of wine if I do those 2 things.
I'm good at throwing.
still you want to get rid of the stem.
Yeah.
Same thing. But these nice little fronds, and always save a bunch of these little fronds for garnish because they're so pretty. And they're just like fennel, they're very pretty. And then I did bring some lavender too. This needs to dry all the way out before you, it needs to be drier before you can use it. But this is great in desserts, it's great with lamb, it's great with, you can use lavender with regular savory food. It doesn't need to be with sweet food. So I'll pass these around and, here's another thing. We have our community herb garden. This is my favorite thing of all time. So this is regular peppermint. And then this is called mojito mint. And I buy this from my ladies. And I get the plant every year because it just never looks the same when I come back from being gone all summer. But I always start with a new plant, but it smells like a mojito. This mint we have to have in our community garden. It is the best. Well, the mints have to be in their own pot.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, it takes over.
Because they take over everything, but smell this. There's a lighter green one here, and then there's this one. This is called mojito mint, even tasted. It's delicious. And this is great in our cocktails and in desserts.
So where does cilantro fit in that realm of
Yeah, I didn't bring cilantro.
fine or?
It's a robuster for sure, even though it has a fine texture.
Yeah.
And cilantro is one of those herbs that some people it tastes like soap and other people it doesn't. So I mean, when I'm making Mexican food or certain like South American food or whatever, I use it, but I always go on the lighter side and then I just put a big bowl of it on the side.
For people like me, because I.
Yeah.
Well, I just discovered a little dip with fresh cilantro, chopped fresh jalapeno,
Oh, that sounds good.
What sounds good?
fresh cilantro, fresh chopped jalapeno, fat-free sour cream, and a little bit of mayo.
Oh, yeah.
And fresh lime juice. That's it.
Oh, that sounds incredible.
And you mix it up, and it's supposed to be for Chipotle wings, is the recipe it came with,
Ah,
but I just dip rice crackers in it.
oh, that sounds incredible.
Addictive.
That sounds
I'll send you the
incredible.
recipe.
That sounds
I
wonderful.
love it. I'm just so hooked on it. I made like a quarter.
So tell us the recipe again, because I want to
Okay.
share something about
It's-
this with,
It calls for sour cream. I just happen to have some fat-free sour cream. So
Okay.
I just said, what the hell, I'll use it. And mayonnaise, I don't have the exact proportion of the mayo but it works perfectly with
sour
that
cream and mayo.
fat-free sour cream.
Yeah,
Cilantro, fresh chopped jalapeno, and I use fresh squeezed lime juice.
lime juice.
And
Okay.
that's it.
So this is, I'm so glad you just shared that recipe because this is what I wanted to talk about of the building blocks of making a great dressing or dip. Like what Susan just said. She has this incredible dip that she's come across, but you can interchange anything in those ratios. And if you just memorize one thing from tonight, that is the magic formula for making a great dip, a great dressing. You do a fat, which is your sour cream and your mayo. You do an acid, which is your lime juice. You do your fresh herbs. Okay, so you've got your acid, your fat, your fresh herbs, and then your herbs, peppers, spices, etc. So you've got your, that component, a fat, and acid. That's it. And so that can be olive oil, lemon juice, bunch of herbs. That can be olive oil, lime juice, oregano, whatever, you change the components, it changes the kind of ethnicity of the dip or whatever, or just be crazy and be experimental and say, I happen to love, like this combination I was playing with one night, making an herb butter to throw on steak. I was like, I just really want something. So I love marjoram and I love dill, but I don't like dill to be overpowering. So I mixed marjoram, dill, and thyme I chopped it all up and mixed it in with butter. And that's basically a compound butter. It's just butter with herbs in it. And then you stick it in the refrigerator and then, you know, scoop it out, pour it over your hot fish or chicken or whatever. And you make this ahead of time and it stays preserved in the butter. You can keep it in there for a couple of weeks. But, you know, I was experimenting and I was like, I love dill, but I don't want to have that dill flavor. But it was subtle enough. I just tried it, mixed it with marjoram and thyme. It was incredible. So don't be afraid to experiment, but, you know, always use those components, like, you know, the fat, the acid or whatever. Even for sweet things, like I made this fruit dip right here. And this is like, you know, a fruit dip I love to do. It's literally Cool Whip, lemon juice. Sometimes I use marshmallow fluff if I want it to be really sweet, like, you know, it really is amazing how that works. But this one has cream cheese, Cool Whip, lemon juice, and we're gonna add, I just wanted to kind of poll the group to see what you'd like to see in there. We could go savory and do thyme, and there would be fantastic. Rosemary in there would be fantastic, or we could do a mint in there, and I want to mix it in the fruit dip, and we'll kind of mix in one side and then leave the other side, and you can, lemon goes really well with any of those things I just said, and you will, I think you'll be surprised at how delicious it is, how it really kind of kicks up your fruit dip. So then you just put this out with a big platter of like fruit from Publix. Like if you don't want to sit and chop fruit every day, you just, you know, buy a fruit tray, cut up your strawberries, make this ahead of time, and then right before, throw in your fresh herbs, literally throw those in there. I like to use these kind of boards, like if you guys have marble boards at home or anything marble like this, stick them in the refrigerator, and it maintains the cool temperature, like throughout your party or breakfast or brunch or whatever. It'll keep your fruit cool. And it's a beautiful platter for serving or whatever, and then you can use it for cheese or any, but these little tricks, like with all this stuff, I think just, it elevates your kind of entertaining without really doing anything, you know, just interchanging a couple of components. So salad dressing, this is a quick, easy salad dressing. I stew together, again, the fat component, feta cheese. I got a container of already crumbled feta cheese, lemon juice, olive oil, and then we're gonna chop some fresh herbs in here and shake it in a jar. This is incredible on a salad. It's incredible over grilled vegetables. It's incredible over fish, chicken, whatever. Things like that.
Olive oil, feta cheese.
Lemon and if you like, you know, just a sturdier cheese that'll hold up to like a shake or whatnot. Or leave out the cheese. If you don't need cheese, leave the cheese out, do these things, and then at the, you know, throw your fresh herbs in right before. This can be made ahead and throw your fresh herbs in. You've got, you can use this in your salad and on your veggies and on your chicken in the same night.
Is there an herb that you would never put in there? Or is anything great in that dressing?
I think anything's great as long as you pair the right thing with it. Like mint is gonna be kind of, you have to be careful with the olive oil because it can be very peppery and mint is very strong. So olive oil and mint, I wouldn't say, if you're gonna use mint like a watermelon salad and you wanna chop up mint and use, like, you can use olive oil, but it has to be very mild and all of that. If you combine any of the strong herbs, make sure that the acid is fine. You can use whatever acid you want, but whatever your fat is, make sure it isn't also overly pungent in flavor, or, you know, like an olive oil or like a, you know, sesame. Certain oils are gonna lend themselves to have very vibrant flavors, and then it'll just drown out. It'll almost make your herb bitter.
So I have a favorite oil that I've almost replaced olive oil.
Oh, what is?
I'm from Georgia.
Yeah.
Pecan oil.
Oh,
It
yum.
has a super high smoke point, only The only thing with a higher smoke point is grapeseed,
Oh,
but, the
That sounds
nutritional value,
incredible.
the fat content, I use pecan oil in everything
where do you
that
get
calls
your
for
pecan
oil.
oil?
I order it, I order by the gallon from
You
Georgia.
do?
There's a organic farm in Georgia that is pecan, plantation.
Oh,
and-
wow, I would love to get that
And
info.
I'll bring you some.
Oh, I'd love to.
I'll drop some off with Heather.
That'd be fun.
Actually, I'll bring it Friday night.
Oh,
I'll bring you some pecan oil.
That's wonderful.
Both of you. I'll
I'd
bring
love
both
to
of you a
order
jar.
some. Yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds
and,
great.
and it's, then you can just go online.
That
They
sounds
have-
incredible.
And I've ordered pecan flour, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
have everything in the world, but, the pecan
Sold
oil.
and sold and sold.
I put it in all my things that call for olive oil and cooking, even rices and things like that, just everything, all my dressings but a few things I still use olive oil. And
Wow.
it's very light and doesn't compete with anything.
Yeah, that's great. That's the key.
Y'all are shocked, right?
Yeah,
The
No,
ladies that know.
that's incredible. I think that's incredible.
And I loved it.
So,
You can just order it online by the gallon, or even by just the bottles like the size I gave y'all, so anything you can scale up again.
Very nice.
I'm just gonna put some.
It does not, no, if you'd be surprised, it's a lighter taste than almost anything.
That sounds incredible.
Mhm.
I love pecans, so.
I use avocado.
I'll bring you
Well, that
both.
sounds
The
great.
fat content is virtually nothing, which is, I like.
And it has to be, I can imagine just like.
You
so-
can read
Smooth.
through it. I mean,
That's so cool.
it's so pure. Anyway. Keep moving. Sorry.
No, so,
It's the only show.
I just, this is why I love doing this, because it's so much fun I love, hearing what, people, what they love and how they cook and, like tips like that. And just now having this garden that we can all share herbs and everything, it's so exciting. It's a big deal. I mean, because you want it to be fun. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's just about making, really making things special and making it fun. And it's always more fun if you're doing it with your friends.
Well, and this is and for the people on Zoom, this is a very small group, so we're able to do this more conversationally rather than if there were 30 people in here. Yes.
well, and I want to say something real quick about Tina and her classes. So Tina introduced herself as a caterer. She's also a chef, like very well trained at culinary school. Spent a lot of time, knows the background, she's gone through all the tests, so she's pretty amazing. And then she makes it so approachable. So some of you were at the last meeting. I have a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old. And my 12-year-old hosted a dinner last Friday night, and she literally said at least 5 times when she was talking about what she made. Well, I learned from Tina. I learned from
Because
Tina.
they sit and help me with the classes, and it's amazing.
They actually learn from her and they're not intimidated. And she actually, I could show you pictures, she actually went out and picked the nasturtiums and put it around the smoked salmon, and she pulled the herbs, and she knew exactly what to do, totally independent. She did it while I was in the shop. I came home and she had this dinner ready, but it was all like, and Tina taught me, and Tina taught me. I mean, it's really incredible.
It is
that
fun.
kids can learn
Yeah,
to do that and to feel confident. Like she wasn't thinking at all like she was gonna mess up because she knew, because Tina made it fun.
well, thank you, Heather. We have a ton of fun. But I do think that is something really important to remember, because whenever, like, people always ask me, why don't you go on those talk shows? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And I'm like, because, and to me, cooking is about like community and fun and pleasure and sharing. And it's not about like, running and getting 50 ingredients out of that, weird ingredients out of trying to come up with something. That's what I had to do on my test. I don't want to do that ever again in my life. And so, and that's what I want everyone to take away from today. And any time we're all together doing a class or whatnot, that it should be fun. It should be easy. It should be approachable. And the most important thing is, you want to make your guests feel special, like you're doing something special for them, and not turn your life upside down either. And the more, like Susan can tell you this, the more you entertain and the more you love it, the better you are, right? You just try things, you keep trying, you keep sharing, and next thing you know, you're pulling off these amazing meals. It's great.
You know what the
So,
fun thing is too, when you put the herbs and so on in this
I mean, look how pretty that
configuration.
is. Uh-huh.
Why, I've done this in the past, and my girlfriend says, oh yeah, I'm like, you're out of your mind. I actually label what's in the dip, or I label the cheeses that are on that.
Oh,
Cheese board.
fantastic, yeah.
Because people don't know what they're eating. They come in here and they eat a white piece of cheese. Well, what cheese is it? It could be like $30 a pound cheese. They
Yeah.
don't have a clue.
Yeah,
You label it and say, this is cheese from France. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden they're experiencing that whole
yeah.
atmosphere, that whole ambiance of
I think
of a
that's
label.
amazing.
And it's a
Yeah.
special treat. Oh, I don't like that. Let me try this cheese from Germany. Let me try this cheese from, and it's
And
it's
it
an
really-
amazing approach.
People just, they expand their horizons with food. Because we have so many really nice, we have right now beautiful produce and beautiful things around here right now at this time of the year. So we have to take advantage of that because there's nothing better than fresh things. And also we're lucky in Sarasota that we do have, access to beautiful cheeses, beautiful things. And you really want to educate people. I mean, it's fun, right? It's fun. You can
You're
start
not
talking
getting
about
Cracker
it.
Barrel, you're getting this cheese from France.
Exactly.
90% of people don't have a clue.
And
So you have to point
taste
that
the
out.
difference.
Right.
Like, once you taste things like that, you never go back.
Right.
I mean, it's just,
And what you
Special.
said about making people feel special, you telling them this isn't Cracker Barrel Vermont cheddar, this is something special from France, and
Right.
this is from Germany,
Right,
this is,
right.
so it's
Yeah.
a special
It's a special
thing that
treat.
you're sharing with.
it's a special treat. And somebody it's their livelihood to create that cheese. It's not
Right.
coming from a factory. It's coming
Right.
from somebody's farm. And just that in and of itself is just such a joy, I think, to share with people.
Right. It's a
And-
smile on their face.
Yes, and that you took the time to research that and to present that to your friends is special. I mean, it is, it's a great thing. So anyway, you guys can try this. I want you to try this, and then we're gonna do one last thing, and then you can ask me any kind of crazy questions you want about herbs. I love to do strawberries.
I have a big slate at home,
Napkins and plate.
black piece of slate. So when I put cheese out, yes, and so on, I will label it. I will label some kind of special after that. So I don't know what to eat. And have a couple drinks. What do you So at least they appreciate what you're doing. They kind of laugh at first, but then they're thinking, what a bad idea. So that's pretty good.
It relaxes me, that's why.
It relaxes me too.
It relaxes.
So do I. I love-
And my husband says, honey, just don't, worry about dinner, just sit down and relax. And it's like, no, that's not relaxing.
Right.
And I
You're
love
sharing the
your
love.
cooking.
When you cook, you share the love.
I put time in it. How do you like that? Like it? It's tasty. So.
This is incredible.
Oh, the rosemary shortbread. That, again, this is like an easy thing. You take a shortbread recipe, some easy kind of bar cookie, some anything. You add some herbs to it. Those are rosemary shortbreads. It's like chopped up rosemary, just in with your sugar and lemon zest, lemon juice. And, little things like that, just take it out. So I just wanted to do a quick, like, how we can take a Publix veggie tray and just like make it like look really fantastic. So, we got basically just a regular Publix, veggie tray. I like to take the carrots and you just kind of throw them on, you know, your pretty board. Slice the carrots in half like that. I'll just make a quick thing. Add a pretty bowl on the side, chop the tomatoes in half. I would get, you know, I would add a bunch of fresh herbs right to this dressing. You would be amazed at how we'll do that too, how that can just really make that go. And then we'll throw all our fresh flowers. And then I also made, this is also very easy to do. You can follow a focaccia recipe, or you can take pizza dough and buy frozen pizza dough, throw your olive oil and fresh herbs on it, and then throw some beautiful salt, like beautiful salt, and then just kind of tuck it, you know, like all around your pretty, like make little patterns and rows on your tray. And literally something that maybe took like 45 minutes or not even to prepare, and it looks amazing. You know, it's like a really fun, entertaining tray. And a little bit heartier than, like for instance, a little bit heartier than just crackers, you know, and you've got your beautiful fresh herbs. You can throw, I don't like to put crackers on my tray because they get soggy, but this will hold up to anything.
So what's the recipe of that?
I was gonna say, you can follow a focaccia recipe, or you can take really good frozen pizza dough and just let it proof in the refrigerator all day. Put olive oil on it, dimple it with your fingers, and throw your fresh herbs on it.
Oh, you don't cook it?
Yeah, cook
Okay.
it. And I'll let you guys see what you think of it. It's just like super easy. Yeah, so then, you know, you just chop your tomatoes in half, and then, you know, kind of sprinkle them all over and everything. And then you take those herbs that you threw in your dressing, and
So creamy.
you kind of sprinkle those all over, and then you just get your fresh herbs and throw those all over your plate. And, you know, you've got this beautiful.
Put that on on the bumper of my car.
Flowers make that plate. Yeah.
They taste very good.
And they are delicious.
Aren't they tasty?
Oh,
They're good, yeah.
doesn't have flour, that's really
And imagine in a green salad if you just slam it around.
Yeah, and they're pretty impressive, I think. Well, you guys get the idea. I could sit here for another. But see how we did this? And you just literally, you know, throw some more tomatoes over here, throw some fresh herbs on there, and that looks like,
That's good.
yeah. I mean, that pre-cut stuff from Publix,
Oh, okay.
pre-done dip, we're gonna throw fresh herbs in there and
Jump in and throw it. Show it. No, throw it. Show it to the video.
right, I mean, it went from this to this and like, I could spend 10 more minutes and it will look
Yeah.
really incredible, but you get the idea.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the magic of great herbs and all that. So, I would say go online. There's lots of fabulous books. These books are one of my favorite, The Forest Feast. These are books that basically give you all these beautiful visuals. Every page is filled with how to use an herb. And they're like recipes that take less than 15 minutes. There's a whole series of these. Incredible. There's a kids version, but it's not just for kids. So like, I would serve anything from that kid's book at a party. There's a Mediterranean version. You can do this concept with cocktails. You take herbs, infuse them with different liquors, different whatever, stick them in your fridge, do them the day before the party, add Prosecco, add champagne, add whatever spirits you like, garnish with a fresh herb, you have a gorgeous cocktail, gorgeous plate, you know, etc. And that's just kind of a little tease of where you start with all this. And go from there. So, does anybody have any questions? Okay.
I, those were good.
What,
Yes.
what herbs go with cocktails best? Like question.
Oh, all kinds.
Basil.
Basil, mint, rosemary,
Rosemary.
Great
like
rosemary.
vodka?
um,
Would you
yeah.
use that?
yeah, rosemary with, like grapefruit juice and vodka. Great
Bloody
cocktail.
Mary and rosemary.
Bloody Mary and
Not that I've
rosemary.
experimented so much, but
Yeah.
I tried.
Well, and when you were
dill.
saying that jalapeno and cilantro and margarita.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah, see, it runs the gamut. I mean, you can just experiment and try fun things. Grab yourself a great cocktail book, look up some things online, play around with it. And again, these are all things you can do ahead, you know, the day before your party, and then people come over and you're all set to go. So, but that's it. I enjoyed being here.